Thank you. It's very pleasant to talk to you. I'm a sinister fellow. No, it so happens that, as luck would have it, I've been cast in a number of parts which have, let us say, distinguished me as a sinister person. I suppose it's because the face, it's, my wife describes it as a relief map of Afghanistan. Sort of not the pretty type, I guess. Well, in a career that has lasted about 14 years, I was fortunate or unfortunate enough not to hit what we call the big time until about 5 years ago. Consequently, I've done about a film a year since that time. Tried to be a little selective and have been very lucky to work with good people in good films. Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb with Peter Sellers. Yes, it is. It's a unique film, and one that I think is going to be controversial and provocative. Money means a great deal. Money's a marvelous thing to have. It's a dreadful thing to be without. It's nice to work and get paid for it, and get paid a lot for it if you can. It's also nice, if you can, to do things that you ordinarily wouldn't have an opportunity to, perhaps, to do. Certainly, an example, playing before 2,300 people in Central Park, a live audience, under the stars, is an interesting and rewarding experience. I think it's a shame that more actors can't have it. As I say, I think it's going to be one of the talked about pictures, not just of this year, but of many years to come. I think the entire story, the structure is put together well. The people in it are, although somewhat bizarre, somewhat enlarged, they are prototypes of the kind of thinking and the kind of personalities that we're dealt with in high places today. It's extremely well written, and I think you'll notice when you see it that it's beautifully photographed and beautifully produced.
Oh, well, I don't know what it means. I'm just in the film. I mean, it really means how I learned to stop worrying and love the bomb, you know? It's all about things like that. Well, the thing is, in Lolita, they weren't really three different parts. They were Claire Quilty impersonating different people. In this one, I play Dr. Strangelove. He is a German nuclear physicist. And I play a British Royal Air Force, do they call it, officer, Group Captain Mandrake. Well, I don't know. I guess it was through working in radio. You know, I worked in radio for years as a voice man, and I guess you pick it up around there. You know, you have to have a lot of voices and dialects, and you know, that's how I got it. Well, I try to get really deep inside the character because I like the character to do the work for me instead of me working for the character, and that way it seems to work for both of us. Well, what sort of English would you like? I mean, would you like, well, if you want to talk about London, you've got to start off around here with the old cockney, see? Now, that'll give you a bit of the old grip on that, and it's all down to Lark and very nice. Now, so I don't know, they won't understand a word I'm talking about, obviously, on this show. But then from there we go, you see more of a London accent, which is something like that, which is not quite so. And then we into quite a different sort of thing, when you go out of the area and you get into more the slightly intellectual approach to life. And then you get slightly more, when you get that type of slightly pimply individuals who have that mode of talking like that. Then, of course, we have the other sorts, who live in around London. And the other thought, there's another part of London, they talk like that. It's very nice, lovely. You go out of London, as you go to Scotland, there's two types of accents. Well, there's many types of accents in Scotland. One is a Glasgow accent and there's an Edinburgh accent, which is much more of this way, the Edinburgh talk. And then we have Birmingham accents. The one that's, I think, nearest to American accent is where they talk down in Cornwall and Devonshire, which is much more of a burr, and they talk very much like that. And, it could be, as a radio commentator over here called John Arlott, and I reckon sometimes that you could really, I think, mistake him for one or two of the American commentators, Well, I don't know. You never know how far you'll go, Could all end tomorrow, could all go on. You never know with this business. Was one of the good things about it, because you're really not sure all the time. I feel very grand about it and happy and pleased. Well, it's about a American general who goes berserk and sends his wing of bombers to attack the Soviet Union. And when this happens, the President of the United States has to get on to the Russian Premier and try and work out a deal between them. And that's pretty horrifying. But I think it's a very good way of putting over this sort of film, because whereas if it was treated solely dramatically, people would probably never would recoil from it. Whereas treated satirically, they take it much better. They can think about it, maybe have a laugh about some of the humorous situations that evolve in it. And at the same time, think about the message of the film.